Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is the Unstoppable Podcast Show, and I am Jennifer Hardy. I am joined today by the beautiful Amy Grace Collins. Hey, Amy, how you doing?
Good morning.
Amy, tell me a little bit about your business straight off the bat. What is it that you do in this world?
Yeah, I help brides plan their weddings in a non-traditional way. I help them plan it via an online course. So most people are using Pinterest or other mechanisms to help them direct their wedding planning, and that's great and fine. But what I found is there's a gap in our industry compared to people who get a full-time planner and the people who are pinning and doing all of these awesome things to get all this information. And there's so much out there. It's kind of a really noisy space in the wedding industry. Yeah. And I just kept seeing people make not great decisions about what they were doing financially with their wedding, and honestly they would get to their wedding and be stressed. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to fill that gap. And so I brought an online bridal course to them where I teach them how to do it in a way that makes them feel like a professional.
This is absolutely brilliant. I am so happy to hear that this exists. You know that? Okay, wonderful. So I'm going to talk a little bit about your actual journey as well and things like that. But when it comes to your business, what kind of modules and things can they jump into then and have a look at? Is it like literally everything, like where they can book things, the legalities? Is it like literally a one-stop shop?
It's literally a one-stop shop. You jump on there. It's a pick your own adventure. So some people may already have certain things planned inside their wedding, so they're not looking for the whole shebang. But for those of honestly, it's the bride that wants to DIY their wedding but has just enough money to get a little dangerous. That's the best way I can describe it. So get in there and you watch videos on the best way to save money and the best way to ask for help and to negotiate with your vendors. I think that's a huge thing. How to read contracts. And each different aspect of your wedding has a PDF attached to it where I walk you through how to ask those questions and just little nuggets of information on how to save thousands of dollars. So it's exciting. It was a heart project when I started it. It still is. And I don't know, I just love weddings and I have for years. So I thought, voila, let's plan something that everyone can get something out of.
I absolutely love it. It's amazing. And it's just such a magical industry to be a part of as well. I used to actually do wedding singing a long time ago.
Oh, nice.
And it was incredibly beautiful and special, but also so nerve-wracking. It's like these people have dreamt of this moment for such a long time, and you're just about to sing like their first dance song, and honestly,
it's a great day. And I think a lot of times I think the number one thing I always joke with brides, so if anybody's listening to this and they haven't gotten married yet, first of all, you don't know what you don't know. And I know that can sometimes come off as harsh, but it's true. Many times people do this one time. Most people do this one time. And you're dealing with a bunch of artists by personality, florists and photographers, and they're not exactly great people at communicating a lot of the times. It's not their super strength, and you want them to perfectly communicate within an 8 to 10 hour window. And so, you need something to put that gel together so it all works together. And you're right, it is nerve-wracking. A lot of times people sit at the end of the chapel and they're like, just emotionally processing getting married and then running the actual wedding is just, it's crazy in itself. It's why I have a whole career around it. So
I absolutely love it. So let's go back a little bit to the beginning of your journey, because this has not been what you've done for your entire life. I take it you've done other things before, and then, like you said, heart-led, you were like, this is my thing. So talk to me a bit about where you were before. What kind of things were you doing?
Yeah, so I started this company 16 years ago, kind of on a whim, because I actually worked in IT. So I worked in technology, and I think that's really played through all the way through my career now, because look at, now I'm sitting on a technology-based platform with what I love. So it kind of worked out perfectly. But I was in the IT field when security systems were first getting released. And honestly, the internet was just kind of taking off. And a girlfriend of mine at work, her daughter was getting married and she was so overwhelmed. And I legitimately was the kid who at 7 years old would get on my banana seat bike. I would bike to the library and get the latest magazine of Brides magazine out. It used to be called Modern Bride. It no longer exists. But I would just like get so excited when the next episode or the next issue would come out, and would just pour over it and be so completely obsessed with weddings. And unlike most people where they would dream about their own wedding someday, mine was always, I'm going to plan somebody's wedding. Let me plan weddings. So it was really from the very beginning when I was a child, and hosting parties and whatnot. I was obsessed with American Girls. They're really popular here in the U.S. when we were kids. And we would have tea parties around them. And it was just really awesome for me to plan all the logistics and the food and whatnot. So I honestly started it on a whim because Gail needed help with her daughter. And I had all of that knowledge from years and years of research, quote unquote. And I thought, okay, why not? So I did that, kind of took a pause on it for a few years. And then a few years back decided, you know what? I don't love technology. I was in the finance industry at that point, and it was just changing so rapidly. It wasn't fun anymore. I wasn't feeling passionate about it. And I love weddings, and they're easy for me, and they're exciting. And I still cry every time a bride walks down the aisle. And I think that really shows I still absolutely love my job when anybody makes me cry. So, I love it.
I love it. I love it so much. And so tell me then, when it comes to the community that you have grown, what is the biggest, or what's your biggest passion, your biggest love? Like, is it the transformation of that bride going from feeling quite unconfident about what they're doing and getting into, to then see them like completely own it? Do you have a real kind of close relationship with some of those brides that come through as well?
Yeah, I think, again, like I said before, people really don't know what they don't know. So I think a lot of times there's really 4 key phases to any wedding. And it's the, design and dreaming phase, the booking your vendors, the actual planning the wedding, and then the execution. And I think most brides really get excited about the dreaming and design, right? Pinning, thinking what that is. And then they get all excited and they go book these vendors. And then the reality of planning sets in, and from there, that's where you see the panic start to lie, and where brides get stressed. And when people ask, how's your wedding planning, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed, I can't even. And I just hated to see people like that, these young women. And more importantly, when I would talk to them after getting married, just, a conversation, people find out your wedding planner, they want to tell you everything about their life with their weddings, and it's great, and I love it. But it was interesting, I just heard this overlying issue. I didn't know how much work it was going to be. My aunt didn't even get to enjoy the day. There's so much going on. And so I thought, there's so much unfun, unsexy part of planning weddings that I feel like aren't being discussed, it's the raw stuff, right? The complexities that go into a wedding. And so for me, I just got attached to that because I'm good at that. That's what I love about event planning. Yeah. So it's why I do what I do, is because it's my passion. So I thought, if I can make this simple for people where they feel like they're supported and that they can boil it all down to some simple things, and then their day will actually go off as intended, and where to spend their time. I think so many times people spend the hundreds and hundreds of hours on part 1 and part 2 of that 3-part or 4-part plan, but really focusing on that back end and giving yourself the grace that you need to get through that. And I think that's where my brides really feel the most supported, is they really see that part of what I do brought forward. And when we create their timeline, their day of show timeline, you just see the stress just completely melt off their face, and they know that they're actually going to get this dream that many of them have had since they're 5, 6, 10 years old as little girls, and they're going to actually get that day. And to me, that is worth everything that I have ever done, to see them with that relief. It's just, I don't know, it's kind of rewarding.
It's absolutely incredible. I just adore this business so much. So talk to me a little bit as well about other turning points in your life. What were moments that you were like, you know, you have to change things up with what you're doing? What was there any times within your business as well that you were like, this is just not working, I need to go down another route or avenue? Or has it been kind of plain sailing for you the whole way through your business?
Don't we all wish that's how it was?
I would love for it to be like
You
that.
do not go into business because you want the easy path. I mean, if you get the easy path in life and you blow up and you make millions of dollars, I mean, honestly, give yourself a pat on the back and just send up a prayer of thanks, because it doesn't happen. It has been a long road to get where I'm at. You know, I think for me, it was that situation where, you know, I love getting in the trenches of a day-to-day wedding, you know, helping execute with my team. I have a large team. I have 12 girls on my team, but, and we love it and it's great, but there's only so many weddings I can do from an income perspective. And really the turning point for me was seeing so many brides not getting access to good information. So I thought, hey, I can fill that gap. I can create a course. But the other side was my own personal life. I was having, you know, I was pregnant and about to have my first daughter. And I'm thinking, this is just not going to work as well when you're having an infant and you're trying to nurse her and you're running a wedding and, you know, for someone else. And I thought there's got to be an easier way to monetize and to help more people and make more money. So, you know, for me, it was just kind of a double thing that kind of came together and brought me to the course-based side of what I do. And on my website, teachmetowed.com, my biggest thing is that I want to bring resources to brides everywhere, you know, free resources, information. So you don't have to get my course to get a lot of great information and, you know, my Facebook page and whatnot. But, you know, I like to write edgy articles, things that maybe people aren't really talking about, but it's just, it's fun. It's kind of like this creative platform for me to get information out to the masses. And for me, that was my turning point. I thought, you know what, I can affect more people doing it this way than, you know, the 20 to 25 weddings we do a year. So really that was, you know, my daughter and also just impact ratios.
Absolutely.
Be smarter, not hard. Work smarter, not harder, right?
I was going to say, smarter, not harder. That is what we all have to be striving for all the time. So give me one of your biggest, like your kind of monumental part of your journey that you have just went, this is it. I've done it. I've made it. What was the moment for you?
You know, it's funny you say that because I feel like we as women particularly, I was listening to Rachel Hollis's book. If you haven't listened to it yet, it's awesome. Or I listen to books, but read it. It's called Girl Wash Your Face. It's awesome. Yes, right? Love that book. And I love the part when she talks about like we as women, we set our goal and the minute we like hit our goal, we like come up with another one, right? And it's bigger and it's better. And we sometimes just don't stop and like live in that moment where you're like, you've made it, right? Because when do we ever feel like, especially as entrepreneurs, right, Jen? Like we never feel like we make it. It's like, okay, great, accomplish that. What's on my to-do list? And so I guess that's the hunger part of entrepreneurialism. So I don't ever want to lose that. I think it makes me better and sharper and a better individual. So I don't really feel like I've ever made it in life. I'm sure compared to many people, that's how it looks. And I'm sure for many people I have. But to me, it's that situation where I have the ability to grow an industry and get bigger. And so I feel like I'm living my best life right now. I feel like I'm in my moment as a mom and I'm able to, you know, be with my daughter. And I also feel like I can be there. And I feel like it happened about 30 to 60 days ago. I just sat back and I thought, you know, I'm going to enjoy every minute of this because I kind of built what I was looking for. And I just need to be okay with that and just continue to grow. So the long answer is that. The short answer is I don't think I have yet. I want to impact more people. So I don't know. I just don't, yeah.
I love it. I love it. Just what you said, there's a really beautiful concept, you know, living your best life. Like we all want to achieve that. We all want to get there. So I want to ask you one last kind of question here. What ways do you actually feel women can immediately take control of that? so can take control of their lives, and live with intention and purpose, and move towards that best version of themselves.
I think we need to take a pause in life, as women in general, to feel gratitude, because the fact that you're just alive and breathing, and I had extremely traumatic birth with my daughter, like literally almost died twice. We won't even get into that. But for me, when I came out of that, I stepped back and I thought, I am just so grateful to be alive and take account of that, because we are not guaranteed another day. And so you may feel like life is really hard, and it might be, but at the same time, it's one of those things where if we just pause and every day say, thank you that I am here, every day I pray and just thank God for the fact that I am able to impact lives. I'm able to learn. I think we as women just need to strive to continue to learn, but just gratitude. I just take a pause every day especially when I have my coffee. It's just like I hold my cup of coffee. I'm sitting there and just like send up a prayer of thank you for letting me live another day, impact more lives, be a part of my child's life, have an amazing husband. And I just think we need to stop, because we are in such a fast race in life, and you're never going to live this day again, and you're not guaranteed another. So if we can just do that, we're gonna really appreciate our lives, because it's gonna go by in a fleeting of an eye. It is.
That's such a beautiful concept, and I love it, and it's something that I completely live my life by as well. I used to be so caught up in the doing of everything all of the time, and I have learned just over the past few years, or maybe even just actually this year, to just stop. Just stop and really appreciate everything that you have. And sometimes, right at the beginning, it doesn't always feel as if you've got loads, but it's even small things, isn't it? It's like just being able to look up and see the sky.
We have water. Half the world doesn't have water.
It is actually just really simple. And there's no need to be in this race constantly for all the material things, just being so grateful and appreciative that you are alive and you're living and you have got another day is absolutely, I'm there with you 1,000,000%. I love it. So tell us, Amy, where can we find you on this beautiful online space? I love what you do. I love how you're showing up and serving the world. It is super inspiring for me. And massive gap in the market. So where can people find you? Where can they come and get you?
Teachmetowed.com is my website. It's where everything's at. I have a Pinterest page under the same Teach Me to Wed. Instagram, you can follow us on there. And then, if you want to work with me in person, and we have an entire elopement division for people that want to, hop across the pond and come get married. AmyGraceEvents.com is my actual company where we plan people's dreams in person. So for those of you listening and want to take a little jump across and come meet us, I would love to meet each and every single one of you.
Amazing. Excellent. And I take it you're all across all the social media accounts as well?
Yeah. Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook. You name it, we're on it.
Amazing. And is it under your name or is it under?
Under Teach Me to Wed. Yep. And then we have a podcast link down there. Every single week we release a podcast, which is really fun. And people are really enjoying that, where one week we'll train on like the actual aspects of wedding. And then the next week I actually interview real brides on their stories and like what went great and what didn't. And there's some horrors in those stories, and then there's some really great things, but you can learn so much from it as brides. So it's a fun thing. So
fantastic. Excellent.
I'll have to have you on my podcast and we can talk about your wedding.
Absolutely. You can talk about my wedding. I had a brilliant wedding and I did it all on a shoestring budget as well. I was very
better. Very
myself. I had a couple of hacks that I created up my sleeve. I would love to be a guest, 1,000,000%. Okay, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you today. Thank you so very much. Anyone that's listening out there, if you are looking to get married, you know where you need to be going. Please make sure that you check out Amy. All of our links are just below if you scroll down. And of course, if you want to find out a little bit more about the Unstoppable podcast show and what we do here, then you can always dive into the links that are just below Amy's as well. So thank you again, Amy, for being on the show today.
Thank you.
And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I so appreciate you being part of this movement and listening in. And I will speak to you all real soon. Take care.